So here I've got my curtain system that has a bit of a curve to it, and I've got my walls which overlap with it, and I'm trying to figure out how I can cut these walls off so that they follow this curtain system, which is probably not what you would do in reality. You'd have some extremely elaborate detailing mechanism in place, but we're going to do it anyway. So one way that I could do it is I could go in and I could edit the profile of this wall. And I could go to my pick tool and I could go in and do each one of these guys. But they're not really going to line up quite right because everything's curving in here. So I'm going to do something that you should never do. But I'm going to show you anyway. I'm going to take this panel and I'm going to load something into it that I can use to cut that wall. So here's my panel, and I'm going to go New, Conceptual Mass, and I've got my adaptive component family here. And so I've got a fresh new family, and I'm going to do 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to make these guys my adaptive points. Make adaptive right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to host points on these guys, which some of you have seen and tried. And this is just a nice way to get a particular kind of offset surface, which we're going to need to do this trick. And it just takes a second to set it up. We take each one of these points. Oops. We drag it vertically. I'm going to give them all the same parameters so they all sort of snap to attention at the same height. I'm going to call the new parameter H. And off they go. They snap to position. And I'm going to make a form element here out of them. So I've got reference line, 3D snapping, and I'm going to walk this line around the upper one. And I'm going to walk it around the lower one, like so. And then if I select all of them, I can make a form element. And now there's a couple special things I need to do to this. First of all, I'm just going to give this thing a different visibility, so it's going to show up in a slightly more manageable way in the project. So I'm just going to duplicate my glass and make it sort of evil and yellow looking. And so there we go. And I'm also going to do something here which is going to seem a little strange, but because this is based on a generic model, I can turn it into something else. And I'm going to turn it into a structural column. We'll call it concrete just for giggles. And I want to make sure it's shared because I want this to show up in the project as a structural column. And then one last thing, in visibility, I'm going to add a new structural column subcategory. I'll call it evil hack because that's what it is. And there we go. I've got this thing. I'm going to put it on my subcategory of evil hack. There we go. And I'm going to load this into my evil panel, like so. And now you see I've got my adaptive component on my tooltip, and I'm going to place it on the points. Need to do it in a specific order because I made them in a specific order. Whoops. So there we go. I have it nicely lodged on top of my panel. Now I'm going to load this back into the project. And I'm going to overwrite the existing. It's going to take a minute because it's going to have to regenerate that form over, I don't know, what is this, like 100 panels or something. So it needs to offset each one of those points, which we'll see in just a moment. Give me a chance to have a sip. And there we have it. So you can see that my panel has now have this sprouted this fro all over it. And what I'm going to do now is that these ones are each a structural column. And I turned off my massing. So now what I can do is I can actually go through and I can go to modify, and I can join, and I can start using those structural columns to cut my wall. And the reason that structural column is nice here is because it has cut dominance. That is to say that if you got a structural column in a wall, structural column is always going to win. So you can see, you can just walk it right through and cut off all these edges. And I can go over into the middle one and I can start trimming edges like so. And I won't do all of them right now, but just to sort of show you what you can do. And then the final piece of this puzzle is going to be, oh, let's do them all. It's not so hard. I guess that's sort of the point. This is sort of the lazy man's way to go about trimming all these suckers. Now, I'm going to have a visibility parameter that I got baked into this thing. Structural column, evil hack, Shazam. So now I've got all of my walls neatly trimmed off. And why is that one hanging out there a little bit? Well, let's just nudge him in there. And there it is. Now again, don't try this at home, kids, or more importantly, don't try this at your office because your BIM manager will kill you. And if you're the BIM manager, don't do this. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope it gives you ideas for things that might be more productive to do. Thanks for watching.